Hey everyone, I recently got the SH Figuarts Amazing Spider-Man from No Way Home, which infamously was supposed to have an unmasked Andrew Garfield Peter Parker head sculpt, but due to likeness rights issues, presumably beyond Bandai's control, this accessory was cancelled. Now, even though back in 2012 and 2014, with the first Amazing Spider-Man movies, we got plenty of Andrew Garfield Peter Parker heads, this time around it seems like the actors' people have been a lot more stringent about having his likeness on new merchandise. So as far as I can tell, there's not really any action figures, any toys that have the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker likeness. I know the Marvel Legends doesn't have one. There's rumors about maybe, an individual release that might have one. We'll see about that. There's the Lego, but it's a Lego, so it doesn't really bear a resemblance to him. And of course there's the Hot Toys figure, which does have an unmasked head sculpt, but it's a reused head sculpt from the first Amazing Spider-Man, and the figure itself is being sold under the Amazing Spider-Man 2 title, which implies to me that that's just a weird loophole to include any sort of Andrew head, whereas they probably weren't allowed to include a modern Andrew head under the No Way Home license. Anyways, the SH Figuarts didn't have the head either, so it's up to us customizers to bring this accessory to the figure. I got the unpainted headcast from a Chinese seller on eBay. If you don't know, it's been the case that many custom head sculpts, many custom headcasts end up getting reproduced by such sellers and sold at relatively affordable prices on eBay. This Andrew head has been floating around for a while now. I wish I knew who sculpted it. I know it didn't originate with the seller I bought it from. If you know who sculpted this head sculpt, let me know in the comments below. I'd love for them to have proper credit and recognition. It is a really terrific sculpt. It bears a near-perfect likeness to Andrew as he appeared in No Way Home, complete with his big hair and everything. This head comes fully hollow underneath, which means it can't just be placed on the Figuart's body, lest you want a necklace Spider-Man. Neckless, like not having a neck. Collectors will typically use a blue tack or something to hold it in place, but I wanted a more action figure kind of connection that would actually let me articulate the head properly and smoothly and pop it on and off like, an action figure actual head sculpt would. But at the same time, I didn't want to permanently fill up the head sculpt. I could have made a socket by just filling the head with like a hot glue or a bit of sculpting putty, but then that would permanently be stuck inside the head, and then it wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to put the head on, say, a Marvel Legends body if I wanted that option. So ultimately, I decided I would fashion a separate head socket piece that I could place into the head. I turned to my collection and what figures might have a compatible head socket, and I found this old SH Figuarts Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, which my particular copy is in poor condition, and I don't even display anymore since I have a more updated version. And you can see with that head sculpt, they had the antenna broken off and tried to re-glue it, and the glue got messy. So needless to say, I would never use this head sculpt anyways, so I was comfortable sacrificing it. The head socket fit quite well on the Spider-Man neck joint, but unfortunately the socket isn't a separate piece from the rest of the head. It's all the one piece of green plastic. So I pretty much had to chop up the Piccolo head to just harvest the chunk of plastic that holds that socket. But I think it's worth it though, because now I have this separate piece that I can slip the Andrew head on and off, and it pops on and off the neck joint quite nicely, and it articulates wonderfully. After getting the head to fit on the body, then came the painting. I hit the head with a sealer first, and then painted a dark reddish skin tone wash for the face. That paint wash goes into all the little crevices and all the little details of the head sculpt. It's heaviest definitely at the ears. I then built up layers of dry brushing the lighter skin tone on top. I also attempted giving him that 5 o'clock shadow, making a grayish skin tone which is heavier at the bottom edge of his face and then gets blended higher up on the cheeks, and then of course is quite heavy right above his upper lip for his mustache. I painted the lips a pinkish flesh tone, trying to be careful that they don't stand out too much, but pink enough that it looks like lips. I kept comparing the overall paint job to the official SH Figuarts Toby head, as I wanted to ensure that they would look good together. Ultimately, you're still able to tell that one is, hand painted and the other one's like a factory, like photoreal paint job, or print job really. But I think in a display and in pictures, they match, close enough that I'm okay with how they look together. I painted the eyebrows, trying my best to keep them accurate to what is kind of bushy eyebrows look like in real life. The eyes, as usual, were tricky to paint. For the whites, I didn't want just a stark white, so I mixed the white with a bit of a pink skin tone so that it was a little bit more natural looking. And then the brown/hazel eye color was achieved with a gold and brown mixed together. And then for all the black details like the eyelashes and then the black details of the pupils, I achieved with a small fine tip micron pen. I find the micron pens a little bit easier to use than a paintbrush for details like that anyways. The hair was just different layers of brown, the darker base layers being brown and black, and the highlights being dry brushing of brown and yellow mixed together. The whole head got this matte finish to seal it. Someday I'll get a gloss varnish so I can touch the eyes individually, but for now I don't mind them being kind of flattened out and finished with the rest of the face. Pairing this figure with the loose mask accessory from the old Mafex Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure, allowing this figure to finally be complete with the accessories that we really wish he came with in the first place. But now he's complete in my collection, and I have all three Spider Boys ready to point at each other and, do other things from that movie. But yeah, I'm really proud of how this head came out, and I hope you guys like it too. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you in my next video.